ever be, fragmented between old Sanya and new Sanya, pre- and post-nervous breakdown. Old Sanya was happy, positive, a director of strategy at a financial consultancy, and a veritable pushover with a please-everyone-all-the-time disease who lived in a 3,000-square-foot house in the prestigious Montclair neighborhood of Los Gatos in North California. New Sanya was depressed, unemployed, unresponsive, and intractable, and lived under her duvet cover regardless of geography. So what happened to positive, cheerful, life-loving Sanya? It was physics. The second law of thermodynamics states that entropy is the quantitative measure of disorder in a system. In any closed system, the entropy of the system will either remain constant or increase. If marriage is considered a closed system, then the physics of it starts to make sense. Entropy or disorder increases in a marriage, day after week, after month, after year. And what happens when disorder completely takes over the system? It implodes. Boom, it goes, and a new system comes into existence. Not a better one, just a different one. Like the one under the duvet cover, where the colors were muted, the sound hollowed, the world small, keeping pace, one breath after the other, where creation exists in only that one moment of inhale and exhale, nothing before it and nothing after. Since it was Sanya's first nervous breakdown, she didn't quite know what to expect. One minute she was a whole person, and the next she was a broken, scattered caricature of herself. Of course, it didn't happen from one moment to another. It took years of build-up for that last straw to fall on her back before she broke. The nervous breakdown was theatrical in its execution. Hysterical, movie style. It happened the morning the partners of her consultancy invited her for a meeting. They were all there. All 10 of them. People she had worked with for nearly a decade and a half. She had started as a junior consultant and worked her way up to director of strategy, but the elusive partnership had never been offered to her. Brian, who was hired 3 years after her, was one of the 10 partners. He was a star. He was fast-tracked. His type usually was. Sanya worked for a financial consultancy in San Francisco's posh Embarcadero Center. They did financial process optimization. Sanya was a finance expert. She looked at the books, the money legalese. She fixed accounting procedures for many, many companies around the United States, and even some in Europe. She was considered to be hard-working, pleasant, someone who didn't challenge authority, went with the flow, and never negotiated a raise or a bonus. She was a workhorse. She was good at what she did. Clients specifically asked for her to be on their projects. She was considered to be a good middle manager, a good leader. People wondered why she was still just a director and not a partner. She never wondered. She knew why. Every day Sanya went to work, she waited to be found out. Every day she thought, today will be the day when they will know that I'm not as good as they think I am. When one lives with that kind of low self-esteem, they expect the worst. And when it is handed to them, they feel relieved not to wait for it anymore. So after being passed over, ignored, and generally unappreciated, when Sanya was offered partnership for being a financial consultant who had been bringing in a lot of business to the company based on her reputation and skill, instead of saying, "Thank you, this is great," she burst into tears and didn't stop crying until they knocked her out with a benzodiazepine in the emergency room. There had been plenty of drama in the meeting room that morning. One partner asked to call security. No one knew why. One called 911. Another asked Sanya to get a grip. Through it all, Sanya just sat there and cried hysterically, like a Victorian ingenue from a period film, wiping snot off her face with the sleeve of her charcoal gray Hugo Boss.